Well, let's go and get to a new guest and see what's happening in markets. For that, we're now joined by David Bosio from Shorten Partners from a beautiful Perth. David, great to go and see you there. I want to go and ask you about the budget and some of the announcements we're seeing from the government in previous months about raw materials, rare earths in particular. A lot of excitement around that spot. And of course, that's right in your neck of the woods over in WA.
Yes, good to see you, Scotty. And we are the home of not only iron ore and gold, but we also have a few rare earths up our sleeve. I decided to deliberately, I'm only going to use the word gold twice, and I think I've done that now already on this interview, because the more I say it, the more it seems to want to go down. So I thought, let's talk about rare earths today. And it's been a bit of an update. Obviously, we're going into election mode, and the government's coming out with a whole bunch of, I guess, initiatives around funding and how they're going to support industry, etc. And they've published a revised list of critical minerals. Many investors who have followed this list, which is quite well produced and well regarded out there in the community, knows there are basically a list of minerals out there, such as rare earths, battery metals, and various others that are very important for industry globally, and they have just added high purity alumina to that list this week, as well as silica. So it continues to evolve, and I guess for those explorers and producers out there in those sectors, it demonstrates that there is a critical need for these minerals out there in the global marketplace, and that demand hopefully is underpinned by I guess their unique status as a critical item.
Yeah, absolutely. No, rare earths by name and rare earths by actually understanding by a lot of what the requirements are. Give us a sense as to what's driving the demand for these particular minerals and metals at the moment. Why is the government going inside them and saying these are the things that we need to go and make sure we have clear supply chains for in the future?
Well, I think Australia, we've been so fortunate to have this endowment of metals and minerals. We're very good at processing or extracting minerals from the earth, but I think historically we've been quite poor in terms of processing and adding value all the way through. And some of our, we've seen obviously China with global domination in the steel manufacturing industries, and parts of Asia are very, very strong in terms of chemical refining, etc. So we've missed out on a lot of those opportunities to develop these industries in-house. And I think the government's now said, well, are there ways that we can actually retain some of that intellectual property? Are there ways that we can stimulate certain industry, given we've got such an advantage globally in terms of being able to actually mine these minerals from the earth itself? So that's part of it. But we've also seen, I guess it's extremely prevalent now, given the Ukraine and Russia invasion that is currently playing itself out. But if you look at rare earths specifically, between China and Russia, they produce somewhere between 40 and 50% of global rare earth production. So if you look at where we currently stand from that geopolitical position, where there's some real tensions around China, plus obviously sanctions, etc., around Russia specifically, there's 50% of global rare earth production is now in the hands of China and Russia, and that makes it very difficult for other countries who are trying to ensure they've got supply and obviously access to these sorts of metals. Interestingly enough, I'll just touch on rare earths themselves. It's not so much the rarity of these minerals, but it's also the challenge in finding them in commercial deposits. So rare earths are quite well known. They are in many countries globally, but finding them in commercial quantities is very challenging, and also being able to deal with the chemistry set, I guess, or the metallurgy that goes along with some of these deposits is also very, very technical and can be very expensive. Now, you couple that with their use, especially now people understand that rare earths are one of the biggest parts of, say, a magnet technology, which again is a very large part in battery manufacturing and lithium battery manufacturing, etc. You can see that this battery thematic, or the electric vehicle thematic, that is really this massive, has a massive tailwind behind it, is driving the demand for rare earths. So it's really critically important that some of these minerals have that other countries can shore up some sort of supply outside of, say, China and Russia in particular for rare earths. So they are very significant, and often they are difficult to find in commercial quantities.
David, just to go and finish off, look, $2 billion from these government grants, it's not a small amount of money. What are some of the big winners on the local bourse that you can go and point to?
Yeah, well, you can see most of the rare earth players have been able to put their hand up, and they've been able to receive funding. Companies like Lynas is a massive one of the best known rare earth producers in Australia, but they've also been able to pick up a small grant. But you've got anyone in that sector has been able to put their hand up. We've got the silica producers as well. They have been able to put their hand up. High purity alumina. So there's companies that have moved into this developing space. So anyone who understands high purity alumina knows, again, very much a technology metal, and it is also used as a key component in lithium-ion batteries. So essentially, you've got vanadium producers, you've got high purity alumina producers, you've got any rare earth players, as well as the lithium guys. So again, anyone with an advanced lithium project, and there are probably too many to name out. But if you're looking at ways of then going down the curve and providing potentially some processing solutions or some new technology that enhances our ability to take the raw metal from the earth, or the raw mineral from the earth, and to capture some of that downstream process, I think those are the guys that seem to be able to put their hand up now. And the government is really, has a significant bank account sitting there saying, we've got $2 billion, we want to give it to people that can demonstrate they're going to use it well and use it within our country to secure our industry. And I think that's key. So it's really, again, not that this sector really needed more fuel to really push it on, but again, this really drives some of the demand that we're seeing from investors in this sector.